Alright, hello. Week 11 vlog on Chapter 10 here. The focus question, what makes the inclusion of homework in a student's grades so problematic and inequitable? And what's the most equitable way to weight summative assessment performance in students' grades? How might this expand our concept of the purpose and design of our assessments? Wow, long question. So, first of all, as it says in the book, and what I've found in some of my classes, I'm sure you guys have seen the same thing, is that some of the reasons why including a graded homework could be problematic is because, number one, it's unreliable. Not every student is necessarily going to do it. There's, as it's stated again in the book, and it's at all of our schools, there's widespread cheating, especially when it comes to homework and students just copying each other's work for very basic assignments just to make sure they get the points. So that's one of the things. The other problematic piece of that is that homework is supposed to be a practice, right? So instead of something where we're assessing how much they actually know, we're helping them get to the point where we would give them that assessment. So it wouldn't really be fair to penalize them for mistakes on something like that, because that's where mistakes should be welcome and students should be encouraged to make mistakes as part of the learning process. So that's why grading that could become problematic. I wanted to address real quick the idea of cheating, because it went over that for a pretty big section there. So looking on page 131 and going into 132 as well, it says that though we must first believe that widespread copying reflects our students' moral failings, I've found that when teachers include homework in the grade, whether it's based on the accuracy of students' answers or just for turning in something, those points actually incentivize students to do whatever they can to complete the homework. Students copy primarily because they want their homework points. And I think there's some validity in that, and that students will copy just to get points. So if you don't add any points towards homework, that would get rid of a lot of copying. And I think that's true, but I don't know if that's necessarily the best solution, because if you don't add some sort of incentive for students to do the homework, then I don't think that very many, if any, would actually do it. I've tried this in my class where I just gave them an assignment and said, hey, this is to help you, but I'm not going to collect it. You don't need to submit it, anything like that. And then not very many of them actually did it. So it's a great idea, but I think that there needs to be a new solution that would incentivize students to do it and be motivated to actually do the homework, but maybe not the points. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, because I'm still trying to think about that one and how that would work. Let's see. So the most equitable way to weight a summative assessment, well, the most equitable way, one of the ways on that the book describes, was to weight equitable assessments at either like 100% or just a really, really high percentage of the overall grade, because that's where we're actually checking to see how much of content knowledge they know and how they can express that. So yeah, I was saying that most of it should be summative assessment, and I do agree with that, because that is the best way to measure content knowledge, is just at the end of it, just give them some sort of assessment and see what they know. But I think that could be problematic for some students, because that would put a lot of pressure on just a few assignments rather than spacing it out, which is how a lot of classes are designed. So one way to assess that, or to address that issue, I think could be applying multiple due dates and giving students feedback and giving them an opportunity to correct their assessments and resubmit. So for example, if you were giving an essay, you would have them write a first draft and submit it, and you wouldn't necessarily grade that first draft, but you would you would make edits on it, tell the students what they did well and what maybe they didn't do so well, give them an opportunity to fix that, and then have them turn it in again. And then you can either do another round of feedback or just grade that second one. But either way, give the students a chance to hear from you and hear some feedback, before turning in their final assessment. I think that would be a way to lessen the harsh blow of just having that one final assessment being the be-all, end-all in the grade book. Some of the other questions here. It says, look at the gradebook for one of your classes. Compare students' tests or summative assessment scores with their homework scores. And then for which student is it reversed? Homework scores are higher than summative assessment scores. So I think I have a pretty good mix, actually, where I would say most of my students' homework scores are higher. That category is homework / classwork, because I don't typically assign just homework. It's usually classwork, and then if they don't finish it, they would have to finish it at home, and that would be the homework. So I don't really give very many just homework assignments because I don't see the value in that. I'd rather use class time wisely and allow students to use each other and use me as resources for discussion and figuring out the different concepts. But yeah, anyway, so the homework and classwork category is usually higher than the tests, but ultimately I think that comes down to who's like a better test taker or who is more able to express their knowledge in assessments. So my test category is pretty high. My assessment category is pretty high on the grade weighting. And a lot of times those homework or classwork scores are used as like kind of a buffer to, again, kind of cushion some of the lower test scores that I might see. So that's something that I'm going to definitely reevaluate for next year and how I design my class. So that way my grades actually reflect what students know and not necessarily just the work that they did and work that they turned in. So yeah, great chapter. We're almost at the end of the school year, so we're doing good. And yeah, happy Easter.